Hey everyone, before we started this week's episode, I wanted to shout out the team that wrote Bylines in Blood on Aftershock. We covered it on the podcast and raved about it. But in addition to raving about it, we speculated a little bit about the political leanings of the team and their intent behind the story, whether it meant one thing or another. To clear the air, we talked with the creative team. They're not conspiracy theorists, they're not wackos. They're actually big-time sweeties. And this was a fantastic book, written by some sweeties. So check it out. Pick up Bylines in Blood on Aftershock. You can still get it at your local comic book shop. And check out our episode where we talked and raved about how much we liked it. All right, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the First Issue Club podcast. We are your weekly reading club where we read first issues only, exclusively, and yes, they are comic books that we are reading. We are happy to be here with you in the month of January. We're reading a book on Image Comics called Rain by Joe Hill. And in the club today, we got me, I'm Budget King.
Me, I'm Greg.
And Mike D.
Greg is back.
Hey!
And I'm back, and the three of us are back, and we're here now.
It has been over a month since we've all been in the same room.
I know. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm glad that we're here.
You really feel the energy.
It's palpable.
It's
for sure.
pulsating.
Oh, yeah. Electricity in this room.
Right, we can start a fire.
How many other ways can we say it?
We're horned up.
We're rock hard.
And
I'm
greased.
jazzed.
I was trying to think of all the ways to say boner the other day.
That's one word that you only need one word to say it, and you get the point across.
Yeah, let's skip this topic.
Okay, sounds good. We had a fun week last week. We're coming back in with another independent book this week. And then you guys had this thing on your text chains where everybody's hitting you up with this thing called Wordle.
So on Twitter, it's everywhere, and it's these colored blocks, and it says Wordle,
And it'll say,
then I block anyone who posts it.
it is insane. It's everywhere for me. It's Twitter. It's on my text chains. All my friends have it. And it's like, I sound like an idiot trying to explain it because either you do it and you're like, oh, yeah, fuck yeah, Wordle, or you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then I'm explaining to you a version of a crossword puzzle that's like viral.
Let me ask you two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, is this comic book related?
Okay, it is a little bit.
In a sense.
Oh, okay.
Because it's blocked off like a comic book. Like it's paneled.
Oh, it has panels.
And there was a lot of creators making like meme Wordle jokes on Twitter with like
Okay.
comic book shit.
Yeah. It's basically like a crossword puzzle, and Sudoku had a baby, and that baby's name is Wordle.
And we talk about relevant things here. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay, this was my part 2 question.
Yeah.
We release these a week after we record them. In Twitter time, that's an eternity.
This
Okay.
has been going strong all January.
Yep, since late December, so we're good.
With
Okay.
no
Bet-
signs of stopping.
You
All right.
bet on the Wordle horse.
This
If
isn't
it was
Substack.
yeah.
This isn't, anything else. This is
just
Wordle is your god.
just like Steve Aoki stopped his set the other night to show off his 900,000 NFT. This is an idea I would bet on.
You're gonna bet on that NFT?
So yeah, there we are with I just wanted to get the pulse for Wordle. It's infiltrated everything, including comic books and comic book podcasts, like it did here.
Well, we've talked about it for a couple minutes now, and I still don't know what it is. So
It's a game. It's a
We'll
game
see.
you play.
Move along.
that's the essence of what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
Yes.
Guys, it's voting season. Did you go to Marvel.com and vote for your new X-Men member?
Tell me about that and what I'd have to do there.
Well, if you don't know, Jonathan Hickman has gotten the boot. I think he booted himself.
Yeah.
From the X-Men line.
Right. Yep.
And so the most successful thing that the X-Men line with Hickman was the Hellfire Gala, where we voted
Yep.
for an X-Men. And they're like, hey, let's sell a bunch of comic books again and do a bunch of covers. So let's do another voting thing. And so now we have a new list of voting. I think voting's actually closed by the time you're hearing this, but it's all the rave over Twitter. People are voting for their new X-Men partner to join up.
Okay. Do we have a certain few candidates that we're limited to?
Yeah, you have 6 to choose from.
Okay.
and
Which is the most compelling? If you had to ask for votes for something.
If I had honestly, none of them were my top. I don't have the link available here on the Google Doc like you just made, but we're going to Google it real quick while I vamp about X-Men. It was all a bunch of like, not low level, but just like really.
Yeah, you could say low level if they're low level. You don't have to.
It was
be.
underappreciated.
Okay.
Well, I guess Armor was on there, which she's pretty sweet.
Okay.
Oh, Firestar's a kind of popular character.
People do not want you to vote for Firestar.
Really?
That's the sentiment I'm getting on Twitter.
I'd vote. I'd vote for Gorgon.
You would.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Penance is cool. Throwback.
Bling. Bling is the only X-Men, if you don't know, that has like a
Exclamation point. In
exclamation point in their name.
Okay.
Or any kind of
This,
punctuation.
you're right. This is a little underwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, I like Armor because I
Armor
think she's
far
sweet.
and away. Yeah.
So Armor, everyone.
Okay.
First issue
Armor.
club, we're voting for Armor
it
right
is.
now.
Yeah. And it's also the first pick on there alphabetically, so it helps you.
Right.
Great. Okay.
In these scenarios, when you have multiple choices with names and they're alphabetical,
I always
you-
vote for the first one.
You just first off, just get out of the way.
Yeah, I don't even know why I vote because it's like I do that with all elections, anything in there. Hey, I've got a news hit question for you. Maybe you guys can help me out with. Do you know anything about the Bat Hound that was released today? His name is Ace.
This is a long-standing DC Universe character.
Okay.
Yeah.
His
Batman had a dog introduced like 50 years ago or more called Ace.
Mhm.
Okay, his origin came out today in Batman Urban Legends number 11.
Okay.
Let me guess. He came from a litter?
Well, I don't know. I'm just curious. I wasn't familiar with the Bat Hound.
Yeah.
So
Interesting,
You
then.
enlightened me.
We
But
get
but if you
Ace's
want to know where
origin.
he came from,
How many copies did you buy thinking it was first appearance of a dog?
I was tempted. The cover was brilliant. It's a German Shepherd, which I love.
How many people were clamoring for an origin of Ace, the Bat Dog?
It's the most spec'd book of the week, I would
Well,
say.
of course. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't it be?
You guys pick up Origins? This is a good conversation. Do Origins get your gizzard?
I don't consider origin issues key issues.
I don't either. But Speckers will make you believe that they
No,
are.
you're right. I think
key
that
issues.
Once you
they don't hold their value.
No, once you've spent 10 years away from it, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, origins mean nothing in comic books. as
They're
we
just-
all
Well, they
know.
mean something,
Not anymore.
but
Well, okay.
in terms of value.
You know what's funny about this is they're actually, in theory, story-wise, more important than a first appearance.
Exactly. You're totally right.
But they do not hold their value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I enjoy them. I like them. When I say I don't consider them key, I don't consider them something that I'm like, oh, I better keep this copy in pristine mint condition.
Right. You wouldn't pay a premium to get the origin
No.
of, let's say, Ace, the Bat Dog.
Right.
Bat Hound.
Oh, pardon me. How could I have been so flippant?
Crypto's a dog. Ace is a hound.
Is there a distinction?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
Crypto's an alien, too. I don't know if he's technically a dog.
Maybe he's from like a dog planet.
Oh, a planet where they're all dogs.
Yeah, because you're right. Crypto can fly. But Ace saw his parents murdered in the alleyway
Yes.
where he was born, right outside the movie they just saw.
His
and the
mom's pearl
yeah.
collar
collar
just
snapped.
scattered on the ground.
Such an iconic vision.
by the criminal matches bone.
Okay, and then tell us about the God of Thunder himself.
Oh, it's just another legacy numbering for Thor coming up, 750. It's going to be a beefy boy. Everyone that's ever worked on Thor is back to tell a story.
Even if
of-
they're
and
no longer alive.
They have somehow done it. They have reached the great beyond. Stan Lee has a story in this 750 Thor annual. It's just a big milestone I wanted to bring up because Thor has been having a season ever since the movies really kind of reinvented the character and made him really a household name.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of cool. We got Jason Aaron's on there, Donny Cates, Williamson. Like a ton of people are on this fucking book.
I really hate this trend of doing
It's essentially an annual.
anthology annual
Well,
style
yeah,
books
it's exactly what it is.
as the anniversary books. Especially when we're counting them as legacy numbering. I would much rather there be like a 60th anniversary book that does all this stuff. And then once you hit like a 750, 800, like do some cool covers.
I like
make something crucial or key happen in that issue if you can plan for it, just so it's like a memorable one.
Didn't Spider-Man do this with their like?
No.
They hit a 00 book and they just had like cool art on the front.
Oh, so Spider-Man 750 was like that
was the new suit he got, right?
Something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Or it was like the beginning of the new arc or something like that.
Okay. Well, yeah,
I agree. I think they should kill Thor permanently. 750. The
you
last
agree
book
with who?
You both of you guys. That something.
We said they should kill Thor.
No, I think something big should happen instead of just an annual.
And then you want Thor to die.
Thor should die.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the character should never be used again. That's something that would be impactful for 2020.
This is the problem with having read King Thor, is that we know he's going to be around for a minute.
It's a good point.
I guess they did show his death in King Thor, so shame on me.
And then what? His hammer just goes to somebody
Maybe
else?
they should just like kill one of his friends then. Like he kills him. Oh, he becomes a bad guy.
Oh, yeah. He kills Loki.
Yep. Like smashes his head in.
Yeah. But then you find out that it was Loki who killed Loki.
Because he was tricking everyone.
Yeah.
He was using his illusion powers.
Right.
So standard comic book stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we pitching Marvel right now?
Are we Marvel?
Do you guys ever think about how you're the last oyster you ever ate?
I don't think I've ever eaten an oyster.
Well, you're not an oyster yet then. Okay.
I don't know what's going on. This last 11 minutes has been a blur for me.
We got to keep it moving. We got to keep the energy going. That's how shows work. Content.
Constant content. All right. I think that's good on the news front.
Yeah, no other real news has come out. It's early January, so no one's really popped yet. Vault is celebrating 5 years of being a publisher.
It's been 5 years already.
So they've been dropping some like cool little teaser images of like creative duos that will be working on
just straight up nude.
I fucking wish. But like Tim Seeley's working with Vault this year and Dennis Hopeless, and they're doing new books in Vault. So they're just kind of teasing the creative teams, not really the books that they're doing, just to drum up some attention. Something that a 5-year-old would do.
I'm all team Vault. Vault rules.
Yeah.
They do so many good first issues and new miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We talked.
Tom Knoll's great.
Yeah, we talked about being Team Vault before.
I'm not anti-Team Vault, everyone. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you got to get on the Vault train, Greg.
I've been on the Vault train. I bought my ticket 5 years ago.
The train is leaving the station.
The train has been on the tracks for 5 years.
Okay, let's dip into Rain then, the book of the week that we're covering, which makes it the best book in a lot of ways. Joseph Hill, if you don't know, we talk about him a lot, was plagued by being born Joseph King, and he had to change his little old name to Joseph Hill so that he would not be under the shadow of Big Papa Father Stephen King. I bet he hates that we even mention it. That's why he changed his name.
He doesn't care what we do.
Maybe.
Do you know why Joe Hill is writing this? Because I can tell you why.
Well, he wrote the story like for a book.
He wrote first.
Why does anyone write anything, really?
No,
I've
good.
always wanted to get into this topic.
Why?
On this show.
Right.
Why do you write things? Okay.
We are getting pretty heady, which is probably because we've been drinking too many Boulevard Space Camper IPAs.
The best cosmic IPA in the universe.
Get zooted and write something clever with a Space Camper IPA from Boulevard Brewing Company.
Okay. Joe Hill wrote like a short story. This needed to be adapted into comic book. So he essentially said, yeah, I got a story if you want it. Gave him this.
Yeah.
Great comic, though, by the way. So that process seemingly worked.
What?
This is...
Was that a slight?
Oh, it just was an odd...
He wrote a prose book. Yuck.
No, but here's...
0 pictures, which we hate here at First Issue Club.
No, but here's the... So... This is this weird scenario where this book is technically on an imprint, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of it. It's called like
SZYGY.
SZYGY.
I feel pretty confident in my pronunciation.
SZYGY. Okay, good.
SZYGY.
That is started by the duo that made Zombies vs. Robots.
Yeah.
Yes.
That duo,
The Eisner losing team.
Yes.
I love that description.
they call themselves that, by the way. Chris is an executive producer on Lock and Key, which is why he knows Joe Hill, which is why he was able to ask Joe Hill to write a comic book on his new publisher, is my guess.
So, okay, so this wasn't just like a book from short stories that Joe
No.
Hill had written?
I think he had it like
Because it was adapted by somebody else.
yes. My understanding is that Joe Hill has like a nightstand, and in it he had a handful of like
cocktail napkins with
of, like,
stories
of
on them.
post-it
Sure,
notes,
sure.
and Chris was like over one day,
Rooting through his
yeah, picking up a UPS package,
parcels.
and he was like, "You mind if I take that? Care if I turn it into a comic?" And Joe said, "Nah, I got a million
Yeah.
of those. You ever see my house?
Either
I'm a
turn it into a comic or an NFT, man. Like, I
yeah,
don't
you
know
do
what
it.
the
Just
fuck
get
to
the
tell
fuck out of my house, actually."
This has got to be a segment moving forward where we speculate on how the idea came to be and the
Yeah.
inner workings of how the two people decided what to work on together.
We've just basically made a play
Mm-hmm.
here in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Scene 2. The story is written.
So so Joe Hill's writing this book of Rain, which is a great title because that's exactly what happens. One day it rains needles, kills all your loved ones in Boulder, Colorado.
Mhm.
Tragedy ensues, and we don't know what's gonna happen next. That's the summation of this story,
Right.
and boy did it grip me.
And these are my favorite sort of books, the ones where you don't know what's going to happen next. And I find the conclusion of those stories to be the most gratifying.
Almost surprising.
Yes. That's the perfect word.
When I was younger and a little more naive, I wanted to know where I was headed. And if I couldn't guess the story, I simply threw it away. In this book, had I been younger, would have been thrown away because so many twists and turns.
I'm not even gonna try to defend myself.
So you're right. This book is about a young lesbian couple who are moving in together in Colorado. It starts out as a normal day, and this girl is talking about how much she's in love with this other woman, and then all of a sudden, you assume a simple summer storm moves in, and it rains down like crystal needles,
Mhm.
and the imagery of all those needles coming down was
Beyonders.
pretty striking.
Yes.
It was. I do want to say, though, that the inner dialogue of this character and the story that she's kind of narrating for you
Mhm.
was so well done. The character
yeah.
development is fantastic in such a short amount of time.
Gripping.
The way she's talking abstractly and literally about the relationship, like the first handful of pages in, you're like, this rain thing is a metaphor for
Right.
their relationship.
Yeah.
And then you're like slowly realizing, oh no, a bunch of people are actually about to die.
Yes.
Like that, the way that transition I thought was beautiful.
Mhm.
And this book did what I love. I love when things mash up like sci-fi and like personal, heady, emotional stories.
Right.
Like my cup of tea right there. So
If this was any other creative team, the story would have been mostly about the crystal rain that kills people.
yeah,
That would have been the bulk of the story. But to have this probably be more about loss and love and like a sci-fi element and what it's like to lose people, that's the real hook of this. Like, this isn't your normal Michael Bay action flick. Like, this is going to be a real...
You guys remember that movie Magnolia? With
I remember a Steel Magnolia.
no, just Magnolia. It was like
Is
kind
that
of-
with Penelope Cruz? I'm thinking of Vanilla Sky.
You are thinking, yeah. It's like a weirdo movie. John C. Reilly's in it. He's a police officer, loses his gun. Tom Cruise is in it. He's very chauvinistic.
So John C. Reilly is a cop, loses his gun. Is the story about him trying to find his gun because
It's like 5 characters.
I was like, so
in
it's
it.
like Crash.
Philip C. Hoffman's in it. Or Seymour Hoffman. And yeah, Julianne Moore's in it. Anyway, the end of it, if you guys haven't seen it, so this is a dumb reference, but it literally ends with just raining frogs, and then the movie ends.
Interesting.
The cast is fucking insane, by the way. It's a great movie.
I'll skip it.
Paul Thomas Anderson was
P.T.
like,
Anderson.
it's not weird enough. Can we end it with frogs?
Yeah.
Can we put frogs
Well,
in this?
he was like, I wrote a crazy ass movie. I don't know how to end it. I'm gonna have frogs rain down. That's essentially why people hate this movie, because it's like it just ends and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then he made Licorice Pizza and everybody loves him now. So.
With the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, for real?
That's his son. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the rain connection
This
here.
has been Movie Corner.
I think you're right. Like, would have been more about the rain. It was good to have it about the relationship. Although you dinged me on this, we don't know shit about why it rained or anything, or the world thereafter of like 8,000 people dying in Boulder, which makes it really exciting for this next issue to be like, cool.
Yeah, let's see the huge aftermath of
I
all
know.
this.
Are there going to be more weird storm attacks that come? Or
So
is
I was
this the
thinking
end
about
of
this
it?
now. If this happened in our, like you just said,
I would never go outside again.
you could never go outside unless you had like a shield, like a metal shield that would
right.
be above your head,
Yeah,
or like a door,
armored car or something.
like a car door.
Yeah.
That's what I would use.
Oh, can I point out another part of this that I loved? Was that there was a small group of characters that were like doomsday prepper people,
Uh-huh.
and they were like, they predicted doomsday in 1998, then again in 2006, then again in 2012, and they were like, if you predict enough doomsdays, eventually you're going to be right.
Right,
I
exactly.
loved the whole conversation with them. I thought that was great.
It's like being a Chiefs fan.
It's like the end of the world really did come.
yeah, see, we were right.
I actually was thinking I need to get into doomsday calling, just to be right.
Just eventually, just
I
hedge your
used-
bets.
I used to actually wake up every day and say, today's the day I'm gonna die.
Oh God.
But that way, if I did die, I could be like, called it.
To who? You be dead.
Exactly. And everyone else would be too, right? If they were doomsday predicting.
You would be pretentious at the end of the world.
Vegas would take as many bets as they could field on this because they're like, shit, we don't have to pay you back. Ever.
Exactly. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
gonna be great.
We'll give you 1,000,000 to 1 odds every
Take
time.
all his money.
Okay, I've had better plans.
I'll say that, Greg and I were talking about how Felix was like, Zoe Thorogood, all this art, sold, complete.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a thing that's been happening a lot on this Felix comic art site.
Sure.
Is that they're just like, complete issue by one of our artists, like completely purchased.
Right. Look, 10 minutes on the site.
Hang on, wait.
All sold out.
All of
Someone bought the book in its entirety.
already
Yes.
Yeah.
owns every page in the original.
Yeah, so
form.
every once in a while, someone will be like, I want to own the entire original artwork of this book, and we'll send him an offer, and they'll broker a deal, and
Right.
won't even post it to their site.
What did this go for? Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to know that, to be honest.
But someone did the same thing with all like the King in Black, Donny Cates
Which,
books.
oh, fucking sends me through the roof when
and
that happens.
those had to have been like over 10, 15 grand a piece, I would think.
Some of those, the covers,
I mean, covers, yeah, sell
Covers
for like
alone, yeah.
$3 grand, $4 grand sometimes if it's like a big book.
so it's almost like someone's buying these to resell.
Yeah. Well, nah, I don't know. I think
What are
that
you going to do with a whole run of a comic book?
sit on it and you like a big believer in Joe Hill and Zoe Thorogood, and you're like, maybe this turns into a big thing and becomes a movie, and
And then you
this
sell
is-
it.
This is my chance to have it. I don't know that people are. Well, I guess maybe Endgame is sell it. I think this is another one of those things where I think people are putting their money in weird collectibles that raise in value because they don't pay
You have
property
one,
tax on them
This is what happens. You're at a job
Mhm.
and you meet
or
somebody.
gains taxes. I mean,
You meet somebody and you're like, oh, you got nothing to do in 2 weekends? I got a cool smoker. If you want come over and I'll make some meat and shit. And then that person's like, God, fucking work friends. Okay, fine.
Uh-huh.
They go over there and then smokes the meat. Gets a $60 bottle of wine
Whoa.
and 2 glasses
lots
in.
of duh.
And he's like, you want to check this out? And the guy's like, I didn't sign up for that kind of party. And he's like, no. I bought this virtually unknown comic book for way too much money, and I'd love to show you the pages for it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, this book, to really no hype whatsoever, except Joe Hill's attached to it.
I don't think that's fair to say at all. I think these two people are so buzzworthy that this book had tons of hype.
Here's the thing about this.
I bet it was ordered a ton.
I think they have hype.
He has a huge following.
They have hype in the circles we run in, but like outside of people who
Which are big circles, very popular, fun
very,
circles.
very. Outside of people who are like overly jazzed about independent comics, I think it's like. Do you know like?
I'm like, people outside of comic book fans, why do we give a shit?
No.
what they think?
I think there's two levels of comic book fans.
Okay.
I think there are people
Big
who
Two fans and then independent fans.
and then people are like, whoa.
I kind of
independent.
think Joe Hill's one of those creators that transcends.
They're like basket full of heads.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and he's done an imprint on DC before, right?
So he's got. I mean, he makes buzzworthy stuff. Yeah,
and he did Lock and Key, which they did the show, and that was really popular.
Cape.
Yeah.
So he's done enough stuff.
Nosferatu.
Just like if Todd McFarlane.
He did do.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
If Todd McFarlane did a new independent book that wasn't Spawn, you'd have
hold your tongue.
You'd have a shit ton of people be like, "Oh God, I got to check it out."
Yeah.
I feel like Joe Hill's like.
And people,
honestly, hold on. You just touched on something. That's a great way for Todd McFarlane to make a ass load of money.
$1 billion.
If he did like another indie book that wasn't Spawn, people would lose their shit over that because they want to be on the ground level of the new thing that Todd McFarlane's doing.
Okay, this is a dumb question. Has he never done that before? He hasn't touched.
Well, I mean, like he's done other artwork for other,
but he's never like touched another series that's like.
I don't think he's done. Wow, I don't think he's done any other indie.
I think he has. What was that book? Enormous. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but let's look it up like we're doing right now. All I know from him is that he's done primarily Spawn.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different creator.
Enormous.
Maybe he does a book with Seth MacFarlane.
Now that is a moneymaker. Ted 3.
Yeah.
In comic book form, the McFarlanes.
And did you call it? Did he do this book called Enormous?
I'm
by
trying
Tim
to find
Daniels.
Look, nope. Why did you have that in your mind? That's kind of crazy.
Greg is still victorious so far.
All right, type in Todd McFarlane independent book.
All right.
Spawn.
Todd McFarlane independent book. Great Google.
Should we add a question mark?
Yeah, make sure you're in incognito mode. I'd hate anybody to be like, you casual.
Our show gets canceled.
You couldn't think of the word Spawn.
I mean, all the results are going to be Spawn and Spider-Man just because Todd McFarlane's name is in it.
Yep.
That's a good point. All right.
Anyway, that's my main point was like if Todd McFarlane ever said, "I'm doing a new hot indie book," people would probably flock to that, like they did Spawn 300 for no apparent reason, but just from the hype alone.
Looks like he did a book called Coyote.
I think he just did the art for an old Epic comic, which was an imprint on Marvel, if I remember correctly.
Did you guys see that old what's-his-face from Invincible, Kirkman, is being sued?
Oh, for what?
Why
didn't you put this in the news?
By the original artist of Invincible. Like
really?
the first artist, because he's not getting royalties from the TV show.
And Ryan Otley is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is a tough pill to swallow.
Hang on, wait. When did it change to Ryan Otley?
Like, Crabtree did the first, like, I want to say 30 issues.
Okay.
Like, he did a hefty amount of legwork for this. He even came back and did a later issue, so Ryan Otley could take a break for a book.
You do the first few arcs of a book.
You don't get paid jack shit.
You're a creator.
That's a
You're
weird...
a founding co-creator.
Yeah, they kind of fucked up on that.
Yeah. So he's being sued, and rightly so. I mean, because like from the article that I
why
read,
why is he suing?
Kirkman's just like, I've been giving you like bonus checks out of like good faith, and Crabtree's like, that's not how this fucking works, dog.
Just give me a bonus check. Nope, sorry.
Yeah.
You give me real cash.
Yeah. So hopefully that gets figured out.
Oh man,
because that would suck.
I can't wait to be so poor that I gotta sue somebody to get my money.
I think you have to be rich to sue somebody.
Oh, that's a good point.
It costs a lot of money to sue someone.
it is quite a luxury to sue someone.
I was just thinking about
We would only be so lucky.
I wish we would get sued. Because that's just a level of celebrity that we need to attain.
That's my dream.
I've been sued before. It wasn't fun.
You've been sued?
Yeah, I used to own a record label, and I messed.
God, we're gonna talk about this again. Always you with your under record.
Oh,
The record machine, by the way, because Matthew Rosenberg asked.
oh, did
That's
it?
so cool. He tweeted us.
Wait, really?
Yeah. He
Oh,
listened to the episode.
Big fan.
That's awesome.
I'm a big fan of him. I'm not calling him a big fan of us.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have been like, oh, great, yeah. The record machine is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
You may.
You may look it up. Google it at your will.
I was embarrassed of my band, so I didn't want to name it. Don't.
We both like wound up for that one. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's that then. But yeah, we messed up a little thing. We had heard that you do advances when you sign bands. Turns out it's not a great thing to do when you're an independent record label. And we owed the advance even though we didn't clear the sales, which we thought we were doing good and we weren't. And then we had to pay a lot of money.
Bummer.
That's okay. It's fun to have started a business that didn't make money. It makes money now. I'm just not part of it.
Did you sell your shares?
When we started a festival, I sold what I owned to, I put away what, thinking I made money to, like, I mean, if I told you the amount we sold it for, it would be like laughable. It was a joke. We thought we were making a lot of money. We thought we hit cash day.
But it is a great festival.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool idea. It was good to like not come out zero.
That's always a plus in business.
You live, you learn.
Every paycheck I get, I always spend it to zero.
That's how you do it, right?
You have to.
Yeah. It's
That's trickle down economics.
Life
I'm
is
helping the economy.
Life is like a video game. What are you gonna do? Buy more like digital swords?
Nope. I have done this. Every paycheck, every 2 weeks, I've figured out what to spend to make sure it goes down to zero.
Just exactly zero.
Exactly zero. And then when I get paid
to the
again,
penny.
Boop.
Yeah.
Back up.
It's like Price is Right. If you don't spend it all, you lose it all.
Yep. I get paid $500 every 2 weeks, and I make sure I spend it all.
Oh, Greg.
I live in a box.
All right. We did the episode. We did Rain. I'm pumped. I'm sad that Rain's only 5 issues because I really like this.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't mention. I guess there's a story at the end of Rain. That's the artwork's cool. It looked like it was done like on an ink block, like you'd sketch it like a wood
It looks
block.
like it was done on paper that was stained by coffee.
My impression was that the SZYGY imprint creators are doing little mini backup comics.
Oh, like they did with the pirate book
every
for
issue,
Joe Hill.
like Joe Hill did with the pirate book.
Wow, it's all
This is,
coming
maybe
together.
this is okay. This is probably Joe Hill's like request. He's like, I only do books now if there's a mini.
That's in his contract.
I'm a mini guy.
I'm a mini man.
Yeah, you got a mini for me? Just wood block it.
I never read the pirate comic.
You
And-
claimed that
but-
you were going to.
But I know because I have so many of those Hill House issues.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'd have to dig them all out and
Yep.
skip to the end of every single House
Yeah.
book.
A period piece that I couldn't read unless I collected 7 different books was not really getting me.
Yeah.
It wasn't hooking you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they do it though. There's a certain amount of charm in it.
Yeah. If you want more comic talk, head to the Patreon. We will be over there. Even more comic talk, head to the Discord. Until then.
Bye. First Issue Club is brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company via Space Camper Cosmic IPA. Our music is courtesy of the fine folks at Primary Color Music. You can find, friend, and follow us on social media at First Issue Club or firstissueclub.com. You can support First Issue Club by joining us on our Patreon for additional content at patreon.com/firstissueclub.